in SportsCast. We are presented by the Fanboys. Our week wrap up and live chat shows today. And I have Jason Harrison with me today. What's up, Jason?
Woo! What's going on, guys?
I have John Roberts with me today.
Yeah, nobody heard the first half of what you said.
All right, that's what I was afraid of. That's what I thought of. That's what I thought was going on. Yeah, that's what I thought. So when I play that little video, an intro video, it mutes my mic and it doesn't come back on until it's like finished. And for me, it lags for the show. Like everybody else sees something different and it lags for me. So, but anyways, I'm Brad with College Sportscast, and we are here to do our week wrap up and live chat show. And again, we have Jason and John with us, and we're going to have a little fun this afternoon. We're going to get started with our prize picks, though. I'm going to do a little prize picks things up front. We are now being sponsored by Prize Picks, and I'm going to throw it out there. Today is Super Bowl day, one of the most betting days ever. So if you want to get started today, you can open you up a new account, use code CSCAST, and you can up to $100. You can double your deposit, 100% deposit match. So that means if you want to deposit 50, you'll get $100 to play with. If you want to deposit 100, you'll get $200 to play with. It is, like I said, NFL Super Bowl day. So you can pick a player, say Mahomes, and they say he's going to throw for 288 yards. Then you say, I think he's going to do more or less. And you parlay them and can win up to 25 times your bet. So again, use our code CSCAST to double your initial deposit and have some fun.
I sound like I need to take advantage of that.
Wow. Yeah, man. I'm going to do it as well, I think. I'm going to start playing too, I believe. It sounds like a little fun. All right, so we always do a wrap-up of a college sports world and everything that's kind of happened sometimes through the week and then mostly the big weekend games and stuff. So, it's that time of the year where college basketball is heating up and we're getting close to March, and there's a whole lot of bracketology stuff going on and important games playing. And yesterday was no different. There was a whole lot of important games going on, guys.
A whole lot of games, a whole lot of good games. Bracket busters. I guess I want to talk about that Alabama and Auburn games just starting off.
Do we have to?
I mean, to me that was the most intriguing game of the day. You had College Game Day actually there on site. The energy was there. I just feel like Auburn should have, in my opinion, they should have won. But I thought that Alabama made just some game-winning plays, especially the last 5 minutes of the game. And, that ultimately ended up being the winner, the plays that they made.
Right, yeah. Auburn went cold the last 7 minutes of the game and couldn't score like they were at the rate that they were scoring earlier in the game. Started out high, and everything was great, wonderful. Last 7 minutes went just ice cold, and Alabama took advantage of that.
Right. That kind of sounds, well, at least similar to the way Kentucky played in the second half yesterday anyway. But so, the Auburn-Alabama game yesterday, it went basically the way I thought it would. I thought Alabama probably win that game close towards the end, and that's kind of the way the game went. But Auburn did play well, and kept the game close. Even though they didn't score much the last 7 minutes, it was still an 8-point game. So,
right. And I mean, Alabama scored, widened the gap in the last 2 minutes of the game when Auburn was forced to foul them, and they hit their free throws, and then they hit a couple threes kind of right there at the end too, and that widened the gap, right there. But I mean, it honestly was more like a 3 to 4 point victory, even though they won by 8 and they had it up by 10 right before the last layup at the very end of the game, the last second of the game. It was, I mean, it honestly was more of a 3 to 4 point game, and obviously could have gone either way, but just Auburn could not hit shots and Alabama could. And that was the difference. Alabama hit shots at the end. Auburn could not.
And to piggyback on what you said, I think it was a critical no call on Alex Flanagan offensive rebound when he went up. I thought he got hit with the body, even though he didn't make the shot. But that's a shot. A play like that has got to be made.
Well,
you got to make that play.
Look. In that instance, like, okay, you might be able to call that, but there were so many different things that were in the game that went both ways, whether it was, something, one call got called and it was less physical play than, something that didn't get called that was, you thought, bodies were flying all over the place. And it was on both sides. There were times where both sides got either no calls or got called for something that was stupid, but it's not like the end of the Tennessee game or anything like that where you have like what looks to be a blatant, just absolute, guy steps right into the landing zone on a 3-point shot, and something like that, or and the thing is people talk about the Final Four game, the Dowdy, right? But I mean, honestly, the Dowdy play was a foul. That was a foul. The thing that you should be mad about if you're an Auburn fan on the Final Four play is the no call double dribble, because then they don't even get a chance to even have to take that shot if that's the case. But that again, we're talking 3 years ago, 4 years ago in the past. We're not talking about what just happened or what could happen or what can happen. I mean, it's the game yesterday was not. I mean, again, they played well. They just didn't shoot well at the end. But they're known for not shooting well anyway. So
particularly this year. This
year's a year where Auburn's just not been a great shooting team, and they came out. They started the game like their hair was on fire, which was insane. I didn't realize it was going to be. I was like, oh look. They finally can figure out how to put one in the basket. And then as the game goes, you go, oh, well, here it comes.
Yeah, right.
Alabama. Go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to get into, so my theme, I thought yesterday was a whole lot of ranked teams lost again yesterday. And then there was a bunch of bubble teams who lost yesterday. I'm gonna go through the ranked teams. So Arizona was number 4. They lost a head scratcher yesterday to a losing Stanford team who was 10-14 going into that game. And that was just a terrible, terrible loss for Arizona. Tennessee gets beat in a last-second shot by Missouri, number 6. Iowa State loses. Kansas State didn't play good and yesterday again. I think they've lost like 4 of their last 6 games or something. TCU lost again yesterday. And then a couple of Big East teams. Providence lost. UConn lost. And then number 24, Rutgers lost to Illinois in the Big Ten yesterday. And that's kind of the teams that lost yesterday. And I kind of wanted to get y'all's take on some of those teams to start with, some of the ranked teams. What do you think, Jason?
Well, starting with, I guess I'm trying to pull up the Stanford. Before I made my comment, I was like, man, where was this Stanford game played? Was it played in Arizona?
I'm not sure. Surely it was played at Stanford. I don't know. That game was a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, it's played at Stanford, and so
had to have been.
Yeah, it leads into it exactly what I said. Teams who are on the road, ranked teams on the road, it is their championship.
Well, I know it is. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, they were 10-14 going into that game. Arizona was in a slot for a number 1 seed.
Man,
before yesterday.
You're right. It's like that. It's like that. This time of the year, I heard a commentator say, you can just feel how intense.
Oh, it definitely is. Absolutely.
The intensity. Then
Arizona, that's what I mean. It's that time of year where it does that, and you can almost feel it through the TV screen when you're watching the games. If the volume's on and everything.
Did you hear what Holly Rose said about the Alabama Auburn game about the noise?
What did she say?
No, she said that she had a decimal meter with her, and she said it was like 109 or something like that on the decibel. She said that the loudest college football game, game that she had gone to was 117, and it was like 109 inside of Auburn Arena. So 9,000 closed roof, sitting right on top of you.
Yes,
was just as loud as a college football game. You know, when you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
not just as loud as the college football game, but as loud as the loudest football game, or getting close.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and like I said, it gets this time of year, man. I mean, it picks up, and you almost feel it through the TV screen. Actually,
And you go down the list. I think the biggest upset to me yesterday, even though Arizona was an upset, and all the team that lost were upset in some capacity, was the Tennessee. The way Tennessee has lost down the stretch, you can't have a free throw violation. Think about it. If he just misses that shot on his own, if he makes it, right? If he misses the shot, he still has to run, and hoist up a shot. You get a violation. They get to take the ball out, and then
he gets to take the ball out of bounds. Yeah.
Look. Yes, and look, and so it's a small margin of error.
Taking the ball out of bounds compared to taking it off the rebound is a tremendous difference in time.
You get to set it up. You get to set it up. It is a set play that you can run.
Yeah,
right.
It's a tremendous difference. If you got 3 seconds, there's a tremendous difference in being able to set a play and get it going from out of bounds or taking it off the rebound.
Oh, you get it off the rebound. You get it off the rebound with 3 seconds. You barely hit the mid-court strike.
Right.
To shoot that.
I would have told him to miss it.
Right.
Miss it intentionally.
I would tell him to miss it, so he has to hoist one up running. And
it's because at that point you're trying to run, and as long as you can kind of, hold your ground in front, he's got to then avoid you, which then means he either runs into you and it could foul, which you get the ball back and it's game over. He has to avoid you, which takes off tenths of a second, which again, when there's 3 seconds, there's not that many tenths. There's only 30 of them.
We're going to get to that game.
You're you're missing a few of these, with a few steps kind of going in not the optimal direction, then you're wasting time at that point. And then, then you're going to throw off a unbalanced throw at the end just to see if you can, put up a prayer and put one in. You put one in, great play.
Great play. You're exactly right.
But other than that, you've got more working for you than against you when you intentionally miss and have that thing.
Absolutely. It makes a huge difference. Absolute huge difference.
2 minutes and 30 seconds left in that game. A critical mistake was made by Tennessee. The point guard fouls out.
Yep.
He fouls out. He fouls.
And and to be quite honest with you, it's rare most of the time when a point guard fouls out of a game. Most of the time.
Well, and you're exactly right. And I guess I can piggyback that into the Kentucky game. They're playing essentially without a point guard. Cason Wallace is not a true point guard. He's a guard. And
then Wheeler's been out.
So Wheeler's out and Shooter's out. And so
right.
now
so there was no, in that game, Kentucky, when Wallace was out, they had to put in a freshman that's rarely used as a backup to play, and that's Adu Thiero, which he's going to be a good player, but he's 6'6". He's not really a point guard. He's really a wing player, and they're using him as the backup point guard, and he makes a few, bad passes and stuff in the game, when he was in there. He's playing out of position. He doesn't really play that much anyway. And he's only playing right now because, you got Wheeler sitting on the bench and he's forced to. Right.
The big fella, man, Sheway to me is not the same. It's not the same. Call me crazy. And I always say this. I say this all the time. When the iron is hot, you strike. He should have left and declared and went to the NBA.
You don't about him now.
Do you think he's playing scared and trying to overprotect himself? Is that what he's doing? Or
I don't know, but I'm worried about his draft. I mean, last year, people said he was going to be a second rounder, and the way he's playing right now, I'm worried.
He's still a second rounder. He's still a second rounder because now I question this. This is what I really question, and you guys can answer that as well. How tall is he? Is he 6'8" or 6'7"? Because he looks like Draymond Green out there against all the other big guys.
And that's really the kind of position that he will play in the NBA. Is something similar to what Draymond Green's doing.
Well, to Draymond Green's credit, Sheway is not as mobile in his movement. He looks very, very stiff. He looks stiff. He's not comfortable shooting.
Yeah, but I don't think Draymond Green was quite as the player that when he come out. I mean, if you go back, I don't think I think Draymond Green's evolved and gotten a whole lot better in the NBA.
He has, but two things. When you go to a team with two of the best shooters in the world,
right, with two suits,
you really don't have to do a whole lot.
Right.
Draymond was actually on the perimeter guarding perimeter players. But Sheway is not doing that. What are people doing with him?
But I mean, I think
him in a pick and roll. He can't play the pick and roll. He cannot play the pick and roll.
He sure ain't showing it this year. That's for sure. I don't even know. I can't even explain that at all. Like, and beyond that, as a coach, man, how do you not know how to teach your players how to defend the pick and roll?
As a coach,
that's one of the most.
A coach, no, you can't say that. I'm gonna tell you why, Brett. As a coach, you go over that each and every time. And I'm gonna say, and to answer John's question, I think he is more worried about his draft stock right now than anything. It shows. It shows.
Pick and roll is is one of the most basic. You teach that to sixth graders. Defense to sixth graders.
Well, it's kind of different now. Normally, you're going against a scout team who's trying to emulate the other player because you can't judge the way an angle is taken. He's so worried about fouling and staying in the game because if he gets in foul trouble,
I think he is worried about fouling.
He is no good to Kentucky. He is no good.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, is that he is worried about fouling. I do think that's part of it. He's standing back too far from both sides, from the upper guard and from the lower. So, and he's trying to stay in that position where he can't foul. I think is what it is. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean,
even
I
the
don't
dog
know.
agrees with you. The dog agrees with you. He was agreeing.
That's right.
Yeah.
The dogs were agreeing with everything you just said. Yeah.
I
right.
heard him in the background.
That's right.
All right. So let me tell you a little bit about the bubble yesterday. So the bubble teams that lost yesterday, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, Seton Hall, Clemson, Wisconsin, USC, New Mexico, Michigan, Penn State, Utah State. They all entered the day yesterday on the bubble, and every single one of them lost.
Michigan, you got Michigan on there. I don't see Michigan as a bubble team.
I'm telling you, I've been following several.
I know you're right. That's what I'm saying.
I've been following several bracketology people, and they're still listed on the bubble. Now, if it was me,
that's a huge bubble.
If it was me, I wouldn't have it.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was me, I wouldn't have it. But this is from biology people right here. And, I'm just saying there was a large list of names, team names.
Hold on. I'm going to question one thing. They got Louisville on here. That's got to be a mismatch.
Yeah,
how is Louisville on that?
Yeah, the Louisville's. I don't know how Louisville's on that. Yeah,
that's why
Louisville. We dropped. Is the bubble extend all the way to the 300s?
No.
Big bubble.
Louisville's in net ranking is 331.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
300.
There's only 360, I think, 361 or something like that.
Yeah.
How is Clemson on the bubble? I don't think Clemson on the bubble. I think they're having a rough go at it right now.
You want to know?
I want to see Clemson.
Listen,
I want to see.
I'm not judging you. I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to the whole Clemson thing in a minute. And if Jay's watching, he's not going to like what I have to say. But
Oregon.
He's probably going to comment here in a minute.
You just
maybe
because you said USC. Then I'm looking on the thing. It got USC in. It got Mississippi State. It got New Mexico in. Texas A&M in. UNC. Listen. If Kansas wasn't having a good year, I'm gonna say a decent year, blue blood country would be in trouble this year. It'd probably be a first.
You go around the nation. Well, UCLA's having a pretty good year still.
Yeah.
But you go around the nation outside of Kansas and UCLA, just about every blue blood that's ever played in the college basketball game has had a down year.
Man.
You take Kentucky, North Carolina, you got Duke, you got Michigan State. I mean, you take just about every blue blood, and they've all off year now.
And you know what that is now. You know what that is. You know why that is. I'm gonna tell you why that is. The transfer portal has leveled the playing field for everybody. It's a guard-oriented game.
It is
guard-oriented game. And normally,
I don't.
But think about this. Think about this for a second. Normally, you get the best players going to these schools, but then we forget it's good players over there, overtime and league. It's a lot of good players who are not even in college sports right now that could help a lot of college teams right now. They're playing an overtime league, getting paid right now. So it's a lot. We're looking at lower level guys moving up and being asked to produce for big time programs. And that is not easy when the talent is not there.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jason. My opinion for the blue blood programs on transfers, I think a lot of these programs are taking some mid-major people, and they're just not living up to the blue blood status. It's happening at Kentucky. I think it's happening at other places as well. But I think I think a lot of the transfers are coming in from these mid-major teams, and in my opinion, they're just not living up to the blue blood status. I think that's a big thing that's going on in college basketball right now. All right, so Jason, you may have already.
Let me see, John. What do you think about that?
Just about the whole status of just having major transfers living up to the blue blood status. I mean, look,
because I think the reason why I asked you that because at Auburn they have a point guard.
Well, we have a point guard that's a that's a mid-major transfer trying to live up to blue blood status. We don't have that. However, we do a forward or big man that is a mid-major transfer that is living up to.
Oh, I think Groom. I think Groom is living up to it.
Janai Broom. So I mean, there Auburn's got a few or has had a few that have lived up to the case. And I mean, look, they had a blood transfer last. I mean, when you have Walker Kessler coming in from North Carolina. So I mean, they had a blue blood.
But he transferred from another blue blood program. He wasn't a mid-major. Yeah,
right. Exactly. So, but right now they've got a mid-major, and I mean, even Dowdy was a mid-major when he came over here because I think he came from VCU, right? Or he came from
true
from a smaller program.
Right. So, some of them programs are called mid-major plus. When you come from a program like a VCU or Wichita State, they're gonna say mid-major plus. He can play mid. So I can.
I mean, if you go get a UAB guy, it'd be a mid-major plus.
Yeah.
I mean, right now Kentucky played at like Illinois State last year, or which don't get me wrong. I mean, he had a fantastic year for the league in the way he played, and he's having a pretty decent year this year at Kentucky. I'm not knocking him. I just
not whatsoever
at all, because I mean, for the most part, Reeves he's been one of the Kentucky's better players. Okay, I'm just saying,
especially here lately.
He has been, but I'm just saying that Kentucky's blue blood standard before the last 3 or 4 years in that position that Reeves is in was Malik Monk.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Hey, listen. Hey, that name right there is near and dear to me. Malik Monk, Arkansas.
I mean,
seen him in
listen.
The 9th grade. But that's what the type of players he was getting.
Malik Monk is one of my favorite Kentucky players. Okay, one is because he chose Kentucky over a whole state that wanted him, okay? An entire state that wanted him. And I know which state that was, Jason.
We just not going to say state, but entire country. He could have chosen to go. And I'm the small thing. As a 9th grader, when I seen him in the 9th grade, and I was sitting in a high school tournament, my first time ever seeing him, I was amazed. I was like, this kid is a pro.
That kid's special. Grader, I'm telling you, he's special. But what I'm saying to you is, it's Kentucky's standards were that kind of level. Tyler Hero, a Malik Monk. That was
Special
Kentucky's
guys.
blue
Special guys.
blood standards.
So that's why I'm telling you, they're over
And
there.
they're just notch below that now. And you can tell it in the way they're playing and the way things are happening at Kentucky.
I'm gonna say
That's all
two
I'm
notches. I'm gonna say
saying.
2 notches, and I'm gonna say 2 notches because the standard in which Kentucky, when you talking about going to Kentucky, you know what's expected. I am coming there to be treated as a pro. Bottom line, I'm coming to work as a pro. I'm here for 1 year. Well, I'm here for 7 months, and I'm going to the pros. That's what he has the standard of doing. He actually, and he can't do this now. He was known to get those players and jail them with sophomores who realized they weren't
A
first
couple of
rounders.
sophomores,
Maybe
yeah.
a junior or two, and
maybe
it
one
wasn't
junior, maybe.
It wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when. When were they deciding to go? Like, you knew that, but like I keep saying, we keep forgetting overtime.
But you don't, right? Last couple of years, there's nobody on the roster where you're like, okay, who is when are they, and all that. You like, I mean, Cason Wallace probably gone off of this team and will probably get drafted. Outside of him, first round, I don't think there's anybody on the team.
But I would beg the difference that Cason Wallace is a first rounder. I think he's a first round talent. But I don't know if he's a first rounder because, once again, like I'm
just saying, as of right now, Cason Wallace would be the only one on the team that would have a chance as a.
I can agree with you on that. And I think you had
now.
Before you switched
He's got a class coming in. He gets to stay. He's got a class coming in that's going to remind people of the Malik Monks and some of the players that I was bringing up. Okay, but the last few years, we had Davion Mintz where Antonio Reeves is now. And don't get me wrong, Davion Mintz come in and average 10 or 12 points a game, could hit some open threes. I mean, played really well, but he's just not Tyler Hero.
No, he's not. You know what I'm saying? I know that. And to lag back on the question you just had yesterday, you just had up on the screen about who was the most impressive. The most impressive win to me was Alabama, because their leading scorer was pretty much held in check. Until the end. But Alabama guard play.
Sears, I think Sears helped win it yesterday.
Sears and was Sears.
What's the other one? What's the other one? The left hand one.
It was the lefty.
I'm forgetting his name already, but I was getting ready to say it.
I can't think of it right now either, guys.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. It was it Bradley? Is that him?
One of them.
I think. Let me see. Let me click on this picture. See if it's him. No, that's not him. Bradley is one of them. Bradley played well as well. It's not. Can't be. Is it Griffin? No, it's not Griffin. Griffin played well.
Jay's all over the Clemson stuff.
Man, yeah,
he's talking about women's softball, which they played and done pretty good. Now he's talking about lacrosse.
Okay, that might be the yeah.
Griffin?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right, John. That's him. I think that's he wasn't Griffin. No, he wasn't Griffin. Griffin played well. I'm talking about
Pringle, Gurley.
Sears.
Well, I said
Sears.
Yeah, like you said,
Sears is the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Sears and Bradley are they played well in a hostile environment. They played well, so that pretty much was impressive. When they're stuck,
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And I could be wrong. They did throw an absolute dud at Oklahoma, and that could come back and show up. I don't really know, but right now, I think Alabama is a clear front runner for a Final Four team. I mean, that's
I can agree.
that's my take. Right now, I would say they're a clear front runner for a Final Four team.
I would say them and Purdue, in my opinion. But I think Indiana is coming.
Indiana's a dark horse.
Yeah,
Indiana would be one of my dark horse teams to make it right now. I would put them in my dark horse group. I think, and a couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't have said this, but they've kind of been impressing me lately. I'm not so sure that we should forget about Texas.
Exactly right. I think they're gonna have trouble when the game slows down, and that's what I say. When it's not a helter-skelter game,
right?
You have to be able to throw the ball inside and score. Either get double teamed, or create fouls, score, or kick out for wide open shots. And I don't think that no one on Texas team is a threat like that. And so zoning them, making them shoot, it will be something that can come back and hurt them. But
I'm just
with that being
the
said,
way they've been playing lately.
I agree.
And they started the season out, and everybody thought they might have been a Final Four team early on anyway. And then they had the problem with the coach and Chris Beard and stuff, But they really seem to have gotten past some of that now and playing really well. So I'm just saying, don't forget about Texas right now.
You're right about that.
And then you've still got Houston, who has an outside shot. I haven't been overly impressed with a few of their games. When it comes to that tenacity to get it done, because that's what it's going to take in the tournament. And of course, everybody's still got Kansas up there, and they're there. I mean, they're I'd say they're in that. To me, right now, if I was putting them in, they're in that 7, 8, 9 range. Is where I would Kansas.
I think this year's Final Four, someone's going to be in the Final Four that was like, wow, didn't see them coming.
Yeah, and Indiana may be one of those teams.
Didn't see
the way they've been playing.
Depending on how the bracket is set up, that bracket, those 8 and 9 seeds, those 4 seeds, depending on how the bracket is set up. Even those 10 seeds, because I'm looking at who all lost yesterday. Arkansas lost yesterday. Man, I think that's because Nick Smith came back.
Nick Smith came back and played yesterday. First time.
Who's everybody?
And it probably kind of screwstery a little bit. Yeah.
Man, you took the word right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Because he hadn't been playing for like 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's hard. That's very, very hard. You're exactly right, Brad.
And it'll probably take them a couple of weeks to get him back in the lineup and get some chemistry together again, probably. But if they can, and they can find that chemistry with Nick Smith, then Arkansas will be dangerous in March.
They can't shoot.
They could be.
They can't shoot.
I'm saying if you add Nick Smith in and they really gel together, that's what I'm saying. Okay. If they gel together and really start playing well, Arkansas could be. They have the potential to make some noise with Nick Smith in the lineup, I think. I don't know that they will, but I mean, they have the potential to anyway.
I understand that.
I have to interject right now for just a second. Auburn's early season against Northwestern has vastly improved by Northwestern
Northwest
number 1 team in the
country. You're right. You're right. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, they are like second in the Big Ten right now. Western is.
When you start looking at conferences, Quad one wins at the end of the year. You know, they need wins, man. Hey, I would not be surprised.
All right,
man.
so
You're
getting
right,
to
man.
quad games, and you mentioned Clemson. All right, I want to say this. So Clemson, who before yesterday was still either in the lead or tied for the lead for the ACC. Okay, do you know that yesterday when North Carolina beat them by 20? Okay, North Carolina beat them by 20 yesterday. Do you know that for North Carolina, beating Clemson the way they did is on quad free win for them? That's a quad 3 win for Clemson. I mean, for North Carolina over Clemson. What? How in the world? Their schedule rank was below 150. Okay, their net rank is terrible to be in the lead. I'm telling you right now, right this minute, the only way that Clemson gets in is to be the AQ, to be the automatic qualifier, unless they can beat Miami and a couple of teams down the stretch. If they can win, if they can beat, they still have a couple of, a couple of pretty marquee games, but they have to win those games to get in. They can't be, they are a quad 3 win for North Carolina yesterday. And they were leading the ACC.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
That's pretty telling, man.
That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that just
it
goes to
is.
show that what they value the ACC. Pitt might be the hottest team in the ACC right now.
The ACC is going. I'm telling you, like, so before yesterday's games, like on Thursday, or ACC fell to the 7th ranked conference in the country. They were 7th.
The ACC is down, man. The ACC is down.
Yeah.
And you kind of like what you said earlier. The West Coast basketball and other conferences probably are a little bit better than what we call these blue bloods, Power 5 schools that you can't name.
Hey, I think you're going to see Big East or make it pretty far in the tournament. I'm not sure which school, but I think
Creighton has won 8 straight.
Creighton's got a chance to be one of them.
8 straight,
they do.
8 straight in
Oh, I know.
conference. Yeah, so I know. I can agree with that.
And I really feel like that there's going to be at least one either Beast or Missouri or Mountain West team make it say to at least the Elite 8.
Man,
I feel pretty confident saying that.
Yeah. I can't wait to this.
I mean,
but
of course, you got to look at the matchups and all that, and how the bracket is. But
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, my bracket is busted.
Well, so Kentucky, my bracket, I don't even know if we're going to make a bracket. So, as of yesterday.
Let me ask you a question. And I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb right now. Ole Miss didn't play well. I know you guys talk about Auburn, you talk about Kentucky. So I have to talk about my Ole Miss team. My Ole Miss team is in the cellar. And Ole Miss is in the cellar. We're going to leave it there. And they're not playing well, injuries.
I mean, they got beat yesterday by South Carolina. So I'm pretty sure that probably puts them in the cellar, doesn't it?
Yeah, that puts them in the cellar, man.
I would think so.
If Ole Miss was in the NBA right now, we'd be counting ping pong balls right now. We're probably trying to get
Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt beat Florida, so I know Vanderbilt's not in the bottom.
Vanderbilt, I like what Jared Coach Stackhouse is doing over there, but before John says what he's about to say, Kentucky. Would Kentucky accept an NIT bid? I'm just gonna leave that on there.
Yeah.
Would they accept an NIT bid? Because
they did before. I mean, Calipari's
the
right there.
What about the college invitational?
With Archie Goodwin, you're right. With Archie Goodwin,
Yep.
another kid who's from Arkansas.
Yep.
He was on that team
Yep.
as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, he did.
What about the college invitational?
No,
I don't think Kentucky would accept that. No, the CBI or whatever it is. No,
Sure, that one. That's the one.
I think they would. The NIT. I mean, I think they would.
It will. Yeah, the NIT is going to be just as good as the NCAA tournament this year.
I think
with
they
all
would.
The blue bloods, with all the blue bloods playing in it.
Man,
Shut up,
see
man.
possibly two blue bloods in the NIT. If
they're not winning it, then it's bad.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I know. And I'm not in any game. I mean, Kentucky this week plays at Mississippi State and home against Tennessee.
Ooh.
I'm not sure that we get a win this week. I'm just not.
Well, John, was this the week that we said that Alabama could go 0-2? This week was this the week we said that?
Well, there were people that were saying that, but I kept saying that they would
Auburn
that they would go to Auburn and win.
Tennessee. See, Alabama and Tennessee play this week.
Oh,
Tennessee,
okay.
So
Tennessee
it would be back-to-back games.
Tennessee's coming off of 2 buzzer beater losses, okay? And then this week they play Alabama at home and then at Kentucky. That's Tennessee's games this week.
Man, Tennessee, they're going from a 1 or 2 seed right now to maybe a
4,
6 or 7 seed.
5. Yeah,
That's what I'm
absolutely.
saying.
If they get beat twice this week,
yes, they're dropping. Yeah, they're dropping.
Absolutely. And they play Alabama and Kentucky already beat them at home. So even though Kentucky's playing the way they played, they are capable of winning that game at home.
Man, it's
I'm not saying they will. They're capable.
It's rough.
The 2 teams yet in the SEC that I thought
rough.
Yeah. The 2 teams in the SEC
I thought maybe the problem was rough.
was Mississippi State and Missouri. Missouri yesterday, I think they locked themselves in the tournament.
They're in.
I think Missouri's in. Yeah,
they're in.
I think Missouri's in no matter what.
And what's scary about Missouri, Coach Gates and Coach C.Y. Young did a magnificent job of recruiting for Florida State. And so I think the connection, because I know where they have connections. You got Chicago, you got Georgia, you got Florida. They can go anywhere. If they start to bring in their type of players year in and year out, Missouri is going to be one of those programs we're going to like.
I think they locked themselves in the tournament yesterday. I think that was a tournament locking win against Tennessee, buzzer beater win yesterday.
If Alabama was not undefeated and had a chance to go undefeated, because I think Coach over there at Alabama, he might end up being Coach of the Year. But I would say Coach Gates or Stackhouse could be up for Coach of the Year because we have to.
I would give it to Gates at Missouri. I mean, minus Nate Oates. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
If
Coach
they
Oates is hard.
If they go undefeated, then Nate Oates is going to get it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but Coach Stackhouse, I have to give him some love because he was on the fringe of just losing it. He was in the papers and in the media for the wrong thing, for the for his blow-ups. But now,
I'm going to tell you right now, he's got to learn to temper his temperament's not that great. It really isn't.
Well, I can say this: when you believe in what you believe, and you're not worried about, You gotta understand, a lot of coaches, they're worried about losing their job. He's not one of those guys who's worried about losing his job. Think about this. Vanderbilt is not a desired place for a lot of people to come coach. And they actually got a guy who wants to be there. So just like Kentucky they're gonna roll with Cal, no matter what people say. Vanderbilt has found their guy. They found that guy. If he keeps improving, I can see him making the jump going to the NBA to coach, because he was coaching the Toronto Raptors, the NBA, the G League team, and won. So I can see that. But Stackhouse, man, his team is really, and then he really has some good players over there. He got some good players over there.
Well, I mean, that big kid he's got, if he could keep him healthy, I think that would make Vanderbilt a much different team. Last year as well, the same kid was on the team last year and missed a whole lot of time. I can't remember his name. Is it Robin? Something like that? Robbins or Robin?
Big fella.
Something
big fella. But
he's the big guy.
Vanderbilt, Missouri, teams like those who are not getting those one and dones, they're able to develop and keep their players. You see what I'm saying? And develop players and get to actually
and that kid I'm talking about, if that kid could stay healthy, I'm telling you, he's a good one if he could stay healthy. I just don't know at this point if he can stay healthy enough to be a full season player or not. But anyways, I wanted to kind of bring up some of those things, and I got to bring this up because today is Super Bowl Sunday.
Is it?
And and the Super Bowl is going to be played in about an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. And Kansas City Chiefs is going to be playing the Philadelphia Eagles, and playing for the Super Bowl. You got Jalen Hurts that's going to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles, and you got Mahomes that's the starting quarterback for Kansas City Chiefs. One of the things that I want to bring up is Kansas City Chiefs head coach is Andy Reid, and Andy Reid has coached 2 places in the NFL for a long time coach. At places. As a head coach, yes. He's coached 2 places in the NFL as a head coach for a long time at both places, and they are the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Andy Reid is going up against his old team that he was there for, I don't know, 10, 12, 13, 14 years. He was there a long time in Philadelphia.
And they won a Super Bowl without him, even though he went 4 times or however many.
Yeah.
He went to the
He finally got a win with Kansas City Chiefs 2 or 3 years ago, and now he's got them back again. Andy Reid did. So, but anyway, all right, guys, Super Bowl. What do y'all think? What's your feelings on it, and what team you think you might be picking?
I think a game like this will be won in the trenches. I guess I'm gonna be an analyst. If Philadelphia can eat the clock up and keep Mahomes on the sideline, I think they have a chance. But if Kansas City D-line makes Jalen Hurts beat them in the pocket instead of those RPOs, if they take away that, I think they're going to get stagnant. But with all that being said, defense wins championships. And Philadelphia is arguably the best defense in the entire NFL. Next to San Francisco, who's had as well. But, and then I just looked up and I just seen Kels, tight end. See, he's the X factor.
See, that's where I'm going. I think Mahomes to Kelsey is what's going to be that's where I'm going.
I just think
Kelsey will win the Super Bowl.
Man,
you're exactly right on that. One of them.
I think, but I think Philadelphia understands that and will completely touch him. I think there'd be a lot of penalties called, but I think Philadelphia wants you have to be physical with Kelce. You know where the ball is going. That's how great he is. You know he's going to get the ball. And you can't stop it. Arguably one of the best tight ends of all time, even as arguably one of the best players of all time. I'm finna stop saying just a tight end. One of the best.
Is he better than Tony Gonzalez? The old Chiefs tight end?
Yes.
All right.
Because
I just thought
I think numbers don't lie. I mean, you can't put anybody on him, even though Tony Gonzalez was the same way. But man, it's hard. It's hard because Patrick Mahomes, we just gave him an extra week to get that ankle better. And if he has any mobility, I don't know if the secondary has Philadelphia secondary is going to be challenged away. But look, I'm gonna pick Philadelphia. I'm just gonna go with Philadelphia.
All right, you're going Philly.
Most physical team gonna win. I'm gonna go with Philly, man. I'm gonna go with Philly. But to be honest, as long as both teams covers on my sheets that I have, I can care less who wins.
All right,
that way.
Who you going with, John? Super Bowl. Who you got?
So the Phillies, not the Phillies. God dang it.
Phillies.
You talk about Philadelphia. You talk about he's in the right state. He's in the right city.
He's a baseball guy. Let's forgive him.
Yeah, exactly.
Who were in the World Series recently.
Yeah.
So Philadelphia is having a lot of success. But no. Philadelphia is the better of the two teams.
All right.
Currently.
Does the best team always win?
Nope. Chiefs win.
All right. You going with the Chiefs? All right. So I agree almost everything that Jason said about Philadelphia's defense, about them being probably the best defense in the NFL this past year. And I also agree that the Mahomes to Kelce tandem is a very dangerous tandem. And my pick is this. I picked it. And the Fanboys did an article and asked for some picks, and I put my pick in. I'm just going to go with that. I think I went 34-30 Chiefs, and my reasoning is that Mahomes to Kelce outduels the Philadelphia defense.
What was your number? What was your number that you picked?
34-30, I believe, is what I picked.
30. Hey, listen, 34. Hey, look, I got those numbers. When I looked at my old sheets, I had.
All right.
Hey, those are good numbers, Brad. Hey.
He's reading
John
it.
John Hammond, yes, I did. Let me check John Hammond. I saw that throwback video of me that he posted on his social media account many years ago. And like I told the guest, Alan Ray, that was Ole Miss first win against Villanova, and so he had that up. That was funny, but yeah, man.
Yeah, Alan Ray, yeah. I've seen y'all posting stuff back and forth a little bit. And John, I'm just posting literal numbers. John Calipari in the last year's non-conference power conference teams, including the St. Peter's loss from last year. But if you don't include that, he's 4-11 against non-conference power conference teams in the last 3 years. 4-11 at Kentucky.
Here's the biggest debate about the Super Bowl, and it ties to college. Okay. Can Alabama claim Jalen Hurts?
Man, I get so tired of people saying they can't. Why can't they? He played there. That's dumb. I mean, it's like it'd be like if you're asking me if Auburn can claim Jalen Hurts, then I'm going to look at you like you're stupid. All right, but I'm pretty sure
I don't know.
Jalen
He did post
Hurts
a picture wearing a Auburn jersey because he lost a bet.
Well, I don't know. And Jalen Hurts on TV. So you saying that because Jalen? Are you saying that because you seeing Jalen Hurts on TV right now getting interviewed? Are you watching the pregame?
Well, it did just remind me. It reminded me. I looked up and I went, "Hey, here's a." He says he has a question.
Uh oh.
John
Roberts.
Dread.
You.
So he's talking about me in my article that I posted yesterday about Calipari. I posted numbers.
So
what's your question for John Roberts?
He's asking about sleeper in college baseball. So, I mean, if you're asking about sleeper in college baseball, you're looking for somebody that has to be either unranked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody that people aren't talking about. So, like the teams that people would be talking about, let's just go ahead and clear that first. Teams that everybody talks about would be your LSUs, who are should be starting preseason unanimously, or for the most part, is number one. Then that means you're going to knock out most of your C's out of. As we discussed earlier, there's about 9 in one poll SEC teams in the top 25. Now, if you look at some of the smaller schools, kind of like a Jacksonville State, or if you look at a Troy, or you look at a, Cal State Fullerton back in the day being one of those teams. Fresno State every now and then popped up and was pretty good because they won a World Series back in 2008. Or you could talk about a team that hasn't been great the last couple of years.
I mean, wasn't Mississippi one of those teams last year that wound up winning it? I would say so.
Ole Miss winning the World Series last year?
Ole
Miss was number 1 in the country, like
at one point
mid season.
Yeah, but they fell, and most people they didn't even. But they wasn't even. Most people didn't think they were going to get in the tournament.
They weren't a sleeper. They started out in the top 5.
That's I guess, but they had a rough patch. And
yes, they did, but it doesn't mean they're sleeper preseason.
At the end of the season, they wasn't. Most people wasn't even sure that they were going to get in.
Like, I'm not going to say LSU is my sleep now number 1. Like, that would be a dumb thing to say.
Yeah.
Well,
don't tell me that Texas A&M is your sleeper. They're number 3. I mean. I can tell you.
It's always good debate. We always have good debate on here.
I could say that Auburn's a sleeper, or I could say Mississippi State's a sleeper. Both of them are the top 25. They're in the top 30 with them across the board. But, I mean, you could say Nebraska. That could be a sleeper. I don't know if they're ranked in the top 25. I have to go relook. You can go look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is usually ranked high, so not really worried about that one. UCF had a bunch of good players a couple of years ago, but I think they've all graduated by now. But still, I mean,
He said Auburn, man. Hey, one thing I can say, going back to that interview, when sometimes you gotta sit and listen. I was being a sponge, and you said it earlier. And I was sitting there, I was like, man, it has been so many professional athletes that come out the SEC that it's amazing that a scout can go sit and catch a game and look at arguably the top 100 prospects in the country in almost a weekend. It's amazing when he was telling those numbers and everything. I was like, wow, how easy of how great of a job of being a baseball guy, because I always watch the old movie. What's it called?
Fun,
Trouble with the
actually.
Curve. Yeah.
Trouble with the
Trouble
Curve.
with the
I
Curve.
always
There
watch
you go.
that, and I see that, and, and that is in my head. But being able to come to an SEC school, SEC town, or even go to the SEC tournaments, sit and watch good players play. I mean, there has got to be a great job of being an MLB scout right now. Especially, I have to go down here and recruit the SEC. Okay, sign me up.
Yeah. If my area is
But
within
I mean,
the SEC,
that's
then
not
hell
just,
yeah.
you know, you can do that with anything.
I got free baseball to go to.
Y'all, you can do that with soccer. You can do that with volleyball. You can do that with, I mean, you can do that with softball. You can do that with women's college basketball. I mean, today we hadn't even got to that, but today was one of the biggest games in women's college basketball this season.
Good leading.
With South Carolina against LSU, both of them being undefeated, both teams ranked in the top 2 or 3. I know South Carolina's been number 1 all year. I think LSU is either 2 or 3, depending on the polls that you look at. Yeah. But so, I mean, biggest games, you got Angel Reese going against Aaliyah Boston with South Carolina and LSU. Dawn Staley against, I can't never say her name. What's her name? Mulkey? Mulkey? Is it Mulkey?
We're going to go with Coach M to be safe right now.
Yeah, I can't never say her name right. But anyway.
One thing about the women's game, and I'm glad you led into that. One thing about the women's game, experience always wins. Yeah. LSU was just a young team, and they needed to go into an environment like this before the SEC tournament starts. Because I don't know if South Carolina comes to LSU or play them or not, but they have a young team.
They probably just play once.
Yeah, South Carolina has a veteran team. And so
the girls, I think the girls, the women's, like the men's play 18 games in the regular season. I think the girls only play 16 in the SEC.
Okay. But yeah, that right there, being able to, in the WNBA, being able to come and watch girls in the SEC, they're a feeder for the WNBA, even though you
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. You was talking about that with baseball. You can do that with women's college basketball. I mean, last year the number 1 pick came from Kentucky. Most people might not know that. Went to the Atlanta.
The top 5 kid out of Ole Miss ladies. And shout out to Coach Yo. Coach Yo is turning that program around. Ole Miss women basketball. Oh, right now it's better than the Ole Miss men's basketball. And so, I'm hopeful, man. Hopefully we get a chance. I don't know if Coach Kerman we get a chance to ride the ship, but whoever comes in, or whatever we do, we got to get back to those winning ways, man. Because if I'm judging this and Auburn is by this podcast, I am in dead last. Man, I am in dead last.
Yeah, Ole Miss has got some work to do. That's for sure.
Work to do.
And I don't know if they keep Kermit or not. This is his 4th or 5th year, something like that.
Yeah. Well, because there was that came in right around the same time in the SEC.
I'd say maybe it's 5th year. Maybe, I'm not sure exactly. I'd say somewhere in that range.
Well, like starting off,
Bruce came in.
What happens is
Bruce came in first. Bruce came in first, or as far as after your Calipari.
When did AK get the job at UAB? Because I know AK sat.
If I'm lagging here, but
AK sat out a year.
Right, and then after that you had what's his name over at South Carolina had come in from K-State. You had Kermit. You had the Mississippi State coach that had come in.
Yeah, you had the guy from UCLA, Ben.
Right.
Ben
Right. Come
Howland,
into
Ben
to
Howland,
Mississippi State.
Ben
But I mean,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you had Ben Howland, you had Kermit, you had like I said, you had Pearl. At that point, I'm trying to around. The coach that went into Georgia.
Cream.
Cream.
Tom
Right.
Crean,
So
Cream, yeah.
it was just there was just a ton of coaches that had, a pretty good resume that had come into the SEC kind of right around the same time. Now, a lot of them have been washed out of the SEC. There's been a few of them.
Yeah, most of them have.
Crean got washed out of Georgia. I think Ben Howland's no longer at
No, none of. I don't know if any of them are, except for Pearl.
Right. Pearl was kind of given a long time because Auburn at the
that was in the cellar.
bottom.
Auburn,
They
that
were
was
at
in the
the
cellar.
cellar.
So
he was kind of given a longer leash.
magnificent job. Kermit came in 2019-2020 season, and so he had a few leftover players because one of Terrence Davis, he's in the NBA right now. I remember him playing on that team. They had a couple players from his team. So this is his
from
fourth
Howland's
year.
team, or not from Howland, but
from AK's team,
AK's
Kennedy's team.
Kennedy's.
So yeah, he hasn't had nothing. He has only one winning season since he's been there. I'm looking at his record, like wow, it's rough, man. Coming from a mid-major,
yeah.
And one thing about
he
it,
may not make it after this
year.
It might be his last.
Ole Miss is a tough job. I'm not gonna lie. Ole Miss is a tough job because in football, you can bring them down for football, but Ole Miss is a tough job, man. But even though it's a tough job, I think you got to get the right coach in here and go from there.
Yeah, right. I agree with you 100%. So about the women's game, John Hammonds was telling us the score to put that up there. So it looks like South Carolina beat them pretty good, 88-64. Hammonds says so. LSU has put together one heck of a season so far. South Carolina is head and shoulders above everybody else in women's college basketball right now, and have been for the last 2 or 3 years. They have been for the last 2 or 3 years.
And that's the only thing. That's the only thing about the women's game.
There's always one or two teams that are just head and shoulders above everybody else. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And South Carolina is that team right now. Has been.
I've got
for a little while. So
I got one more thing before we go right into the end of everything. Just to kind of go on John Hammond's last question here, which was talking about going back to baseball and talking about a player to watch. Look, if you're looking at the SEC and you want to watch a player to watch in the SEC, right? So if you're looking at the SEC, there's going to be several players to watch. I can't name every one of them, but look, Dylan Cruz out of LSU was the co-player of the year last year, along with Auburn's Sonny DeShera. So he's back. You can watch him. But LSU went out and basically brought in a mass amount of transfers. Baseman. Yep,
you froze up for a minute.
I know. I saw the little message I got. So, the Dylan Cruz, center fielder for LSU, but then a transfer that went into LSU, Tommy White, third baseman from NC State, nicknamed Tommy. He's going to sit there and hit bombs. He'll be up for probably player of the year.
Right.
So I would go.
I think LSU's going to be the team to watch. I think they're loaded. Texas A&M's got a pretty good team, I believe.
They do.
There's couple of other SEC teams that's right there in the top 5 as well. John, probably know them off the top of your head. There's a couple of others. Is it Florida?
Yep. Tennessee's up there.
Tennessee's up there.
Was in the top 20.
Vandy's up there.
Ole Miss. I mean, look, just about anything that's in the West is going to be on that list. So,
hey, flip a coin.
In fact, I think it's
and just pick a name.
It's everybody in the West, but Auburn and Mississippi State, which are in the top 30 right now, as far as being in the top 25. And then in the East, it's Florida. I think Vandy is on the list. Yeah. So, but you have Florida, Vandy, and South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina's in there.
I think Georgia. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah.
No, I mean Georgia's right above Kentucky in all the rankings. In Kentucky, they're kind of right in that same range most time. Georgia, Kentucky is what I've looked at.
Right
on the baseball side. Yeah, the West is the one that's just loaded.
Right.
For baseball. I mean, it reminds you of the West in football about,
the 2010s.
5, 6, 8 years ago. Yeah, 2010. Yeah. Yeah. It reminds you when you look at it, when you look at baseball right now. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. So the last big news that I want to bring up this week is it was finally announced that Oklahoma and Texas are joining SEC starting in July 1st, 24. So we've got one more college football with Oklahoma and Texas in it. We get to finish this year in basketball and then have next year in basketball. They will join the SEC. But so I've been looking at some of the schedule stuff. Y'all, the SEC is going to be a scary, meat-grinding beast of a conference. You was talking about Ole Miss and some of their struggles in basketball. You just wait. I'm telling you, the SEC is going to be a beast in nearly every sport. I mean, Oklahoma's got the number 1 team in the land in
softball.
Softball right now. I'm not talking about just the major sport. I mean, you go and you look at all the sports. You go look at volleyball and soccer and softball and women's college basketball and anything that you can come up with. Track and field, Kentucky's been killing it in field lately. They really have. I mean,
Arkansas is always in there.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
The team to beat, right?
Yeah. So, man,
I'm telling y'all right now, the SEC is going to be a scary monster. I'm telling you.
Well, I just look at it from the football aspect of it. Like, imagine Texas coming to your town on a weekend, and they travel well. It's going to be amazing.
Kentucky. It this way, Kentucky's schedule, and they're going to be working out the schedules. There was a supposed leak to an SEC possible schedule this week. Okay, all right. They have Tennessee as one of Kentucky's regular every year teams. All right, 1 year they get Tennessee, and then according to this schedule, they have Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, and LSU all in 1 year. All right. So you get Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, and LSU in 1 year as a Kentucky football. All right. Then the next year you get Tennessee, you get Florida, you get Texas A&M, and Auburn.
Look,
All right.
all I'm
So
gonna
that's
say is
five. That's 5 of your 12 games right there. And that's
31 picks in the
not
first round, right?
that's not including having to play Mississippi State, Ole Miss, having to play South Carolina, having to play Arkansas. So you get 2 of those games. So 7 games right there. And then you throw in Vanderbilt and Missouri because I haven't brought them up either. So you got to play Vanderbilt and Missouri every year. Kentucky would in this one. So you've got you've got about 8 or 9 games, 8 games every year against teams that could possibly either ranked or ranked in the top 10, a whole lot of them. When you got Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, and Tennessee all in 1 year, they could all top 10 teams.
It'd be brutal. It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be brutal.
First round draft picks is 31. It's going to be 30. It's 31 picks in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on and say it year in and year out. It's going to be at least 15, maybe 16 first round draft picks
out of the SEC.
From here on out.
Yeah.
From here on out, man. They're going to dominate us. Why not go to the best college?
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling y'all right now. I mean, the SEC is going to be brutal. And you go through, I was talking about, Ole Miss with basketball. They better get somebody in there and get somebody starting because when Oklahoma and Texas come in on top of what's already here, I mean, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy, man. Yeah, we need to get those credentials ready, man, because we need to be in the place in every SEC, no matter the sport. Man, it's going to be work.
And we're working on it, guys. We're working on it. That's the reason why I've Kentucky articles. You can look us up on Winning Edge Sports Network. I've got some Kentucky articles on there. John's got one Auburn article, and we're working on that. I've also got NFL draft article, and I'll be doing another one at the end of February when we have our next show. So we're working on that. I'm trying to nudge Jason over there to do a little bit of Arkansas and Ole Miss stuff. But we're working on it. We're working on credentials and stuff. John's working on doing some Auburn baseball this year. Hopefully, we are in the works with that, and we're hoping to be able to bring you some Auburn baseball. So we have a lot of stuff going on, guys, and it's kind of exciting. This coming week, we have one of our regular shows, and we'll do kind of a hot topic show, the pick six and no fly zone probably, and then Thursday night we're going to have Ron right here on College Sportscast, and he's going to be joining our college game day pick'em, and Kentucky and Tennessee the other Saturday. So Ron Slay's a former Tennessee player. I'm a huge Kentucky fan, so it ought to be fun. But it's exciting to have Ron Slay. Ron Slay is on SEC Network. He does SEC Now and some games and stuff on Tuesday nights. And he also is is on the radio and does some stuff on Nashville radio and shows. Ron Slay does, and we're excited to have him on College Sportscast. John Roberts is going to take the next off. It's also Valentine's week, and John Roberts is a nice guy. Isn't that right, John Roberts?
Say what again?
I said, nice guy. So you're going to take some time off for Valentine's.
Freezing up. I didn't hear.
I'm freezing or you're freezing?
You're frozen.
I said that you're a nice guy and you're taking some time off for Valentine's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got those things coming up up. And then on Sunday this week, we're going to have Steve Heigl with us. He's going to be breaking down some college basketball stuff on Sunday and week wrap up and doing a little bracketology next Sunday. So we got a big week coming up here at College SportsCast. We're excited to bring all this stuff to you. What do y'all think? Y'all excited about this week? Well, I know John's going to be off for a couple of days. What about you, Jason?
I'm excited, man. You know, just keep things going. I think Thursday show will be good. You got Kentucky and Tennessee guys going at it, and so I think that's gonna be a good having him on for the whole show. We're gonna make a guy, John, he trust me. If my wife said, "Hey, it's Valentine's Day, we gotta be here," I would be missing too. Well, me and my wife celebrate.
I know. I actually asked you, do you have things going on? Yeah. I had to ask Jason too. I'm a single guy, so I don't have to worry about all that right now. But anyway, hadn't always been there. Man.
But it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, looking forward to the week.
That's cool, guys. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to talk about our Home for Our Troops. That's our 2023 nonprofit organization. If you're looking for a place to give, we would ask that you give to our troops. This is for veterans who have been injured or wounded, and when they come back home, this Home for Our Troops will build homes for them and rebuild their lives. If they're from Indiana and they want to move to, they will build them in New Orleans. And they've been doing this for about 20 plus years. For every dollar that you give, 90 cents of that goes towards building veterans' homes. So we ask that you go to www.hfotusa.org to give to them today. And then the last thing I want to bring up before we get off the air is I want to remind people about our prize. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I know everybody in the country wants to put something down. I mean, you could do something as simple as which Kelsey's going to get hit first. I don't know. So you can do something as, who's going to take the first hit? Which Kelsey's going to take the first hit? I don't know. You can go and look it up. But I'm telling you right now, go to Prize Picks, use our code CSCAST. You can double your initial deposit up to $100 and have a whole lot of fun playing and picking these daily fantasy sports games. So with that, we're going to wrap this show up and say good night. We will see you guys on Tuesday night for our next show, and we will see you down the road. See you later, guys.
See you later, man.